Friends and family, welcome back to the Eastern Washington University Recreation Center for this Pack 8 matchup between the Eastern Washington Eagles and the visiting USC Trojans. These two teams coming into this game really looking to add to their win total in the Pack 8 conference. My name's Tyler Pisani, joined as always by the one and only Gary Allen. And Gary, a heck of a weekend last weekend, ending on not so great of a note with the injury to Cole Best and the call-off of Sunday's game. But overall, watching the Eagles last weekend, what can we expect on their two games this week?
I expect them to pick up where they left off. They started to play like you thought they could, and they were starting doing anticipatory hockey. What I mean by that is now they just know where their line mate's going to be, so rather than looking and setting up, they're just shooting the puck there. So if I was Eastern, I'd just pick up off that. And USC, since this is the first I've seen them this year, I'm not really familiar with them right at this point. But it looks like their big scorers are Preston Patz. He's got 13 points so far. Then you got Michael Hughes has got Christopher Chow is second. Then a tie with Patz and Hughes on there. So it'll be interesting to watch those guys for the first period, see if they get going on it. And it should be interesting. If Eastern picks up where they left off last weekend, they'll be in good shape, and I'm glad to hear Cole Best is doing well.
He is here in the building. Obviously not playing today, but saw him walking around, which is a good thing because the last time we saw him, that was very much not the case. So well wishes out there to Cole Best. Taking a quick look at the starters for the Trojans. In net is Heath Chansey. Also starting off was Tolich, Chow, Salzgable, Patz, and Quezada. For Eastern Washington, in between the pipes is Brendan Carew, the perennial Friday night starter so far for the Eagles this year. In front of him, Trent Wells and Ryan Carew, and then up top it was Sam Thompson, Joel Lusk, and Frank Flood.
So it's a luxury the Eagles have with two net miners with Carew, and then you got Sam Brash, who just played extremely well last weekend. So they got goaltenders.
The Eastern coming into this game 7-10 on the season, had a rough start to the year, losing their first 6 in a row. But they seem to have righted the ship over the last few weeks. We saw it against WSU on homecoming night. We saw it against all of the teams last weekend, UVU, Wyoming, Idaho. Eastern's really playing their best hockey of the year right now. And I'm excited to see what they're able to do this weekend, between this weekend and next weekend, if they're able to pull away 4 Pack 8 wins here against USC and on the road against UC San Diego. Eastern will actually be over 500, which is impressive before break after that rough start for them.
Well, there's no question, but we know what happened with them, with the young players, new players coming in. It was going to take them a while to mesh. Now you got to tip your cap to the coaching staff because they got the players to buy in their system. And you saw it for the last 4 games. They've really got into it, and they're playing a lot better as a unit. And that'll bode well if they can pick up 2 W's this weekend.
And you talk about it right there. Stevenson, a couple of strides into the zone. Hofacker picked up the puck, decided it was better just to regroup into the neutral zone, and Stevenson saw that coming before I think Hofacker even realized what he was going to do.
Yeah, and that wouldn't have happened a month and a half ago. I mean, these lines are really, really gelling well together at the right time. And then you got Joel Lusk, who really lit up the scoreboard last week. He had a hellacious game. I expect that out of him. And they got Frank Flood. He found a home in front of that net.
And he just about had an opportunity there, kind of diving a backhand into the leg pads of Heath Chauncey, his second save of the game.
Well, what's Flood's doing really well, besides parking himself in the crease, what he did on that play, he just cut across. He got in, he cut across. I mean, I think he found a home in that crease area, and he likes it there, and he's been putting up points.
It seems to be working for him, seems to be working for the Eagles. We'll see what they do, where they position him today. He's out there now with Lusk and Thompson, backed up by Young and Tierney, it looks like. I'm sorry, Young and Eriks for Eastern Washington. This USC squad traveling a little light. Only 4 substitute skaters on their bench. 5. One hiding over there in the corner. But only 5 skaters on their bench. They were actually able to sneak out a win against Washington State yesterday.
Well, if you remember from last year in that one tournament up here, they came light again. I mean, and I'm not sure if it's the numbers that can travel or not, but they did really well for being so short as far as player-wise. So I think they're used to it.
Well, I'm starting to think that the Mighty Ducks might have lied to us, Gary, and there might just not be that much interest for ice hockey in Southern California.
Well, one could look at it that way. I'm not sure, but we'll go with that one because you're on top of your game. So, who am I to say no? I don't think that's correct. I'll go with it.
You never know what you're going to get on Eags After Dark. 8 o'clock start time tonight here at the URC. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock start time between these two teams in the middle of the Pac-8 showcase this weekend. Yesterday, it was Washington State and these same Trojans. And as we said, the Trojans able to come away with a victory yesterday. Here's an opportunity for the Eagles gaining the line. Shot taken into the glove of the netminder by Buchanan. But then earlier today, WSU taking on San Jose State. The Cougars falling in that one 6-3. A bit of a skid for the Cougars here over the last few weeks. Same schedule tomorrow. Cougars against San Jose State at 3, but Eastern playing a normal 7 o'clock Saturday puck drop. And then Sunday, these two teams playing at noon, the Cougars and the Trojans wrapping up the Pac-8 showcase. And I think that's it for showcases this year, Gary. We get them out of the way, back-to-back weekends. Opportunity here for the Trojans. Good tie-up by Casey Young, but still somehow able to get that one on net and past Carew, I think, was Chris Chow. It might have been Noah Lauren.
Well, I know one thing. I think Mr. Crew would want that back because Young did a great job. He was going to get called for a penalty, which I wasn't really sure what they were going to call on because he was just harassing the guy, and he got the stick tip lifted up on him, and somehow it snuck by Brendan Crew. And so it's an interesting start for USC.
So just like that, USC again surprising the team, and it looks like they're gonna put Casey Young in the box for that anyways. I'm not really sure what the call is here since he had all stick.
Yeah,
as he was coming in there. So Eastern, a double whammy here, as now they're gonna head to the penalty kill.
To be quite frankly, I thought Young did an outstanding job of getting back into it and lifting the player's stick up, and I didn't see what the referee called on it, but that's an interesting call. But now we'll see how Eastern responds. Last weekend they were in great shape. They really never played from behind, and that's the one next test they have to really show that, yeah, we've grown. It doesn't matter if we're a point down or two. We can take care of this, and that'll be what I will look for.
And this isn't a position they've been in recently, and now Stevenson looking to try and get on his horse, but the first player there was the netminder, giving Stevenson some pressure was Taloke. So want to head to Hofacker just out of his reach.
But again, if there is that anticipatory hockey I was talking about, Wells, he knew where Hofacker was going to be. He didn't even look at him, and he shot the puck down a little bit too far, but that's outstanding play by both those players.
Now some speed come the Trojans as Chow going to bring it up the left side. Thinks about circling back, decides to go back up to the top of the zone. Now to Chow on the far side.
Looking at their stats, I'm almost positive Chow played last year for him. He was an outstanding hockey player.
I think so. And that one bounces in and out of the glove of Carew, but he's able to wrap up the rebound with 50 seconds left on the Casey Young minor penalty.
Right now, what it looks like, USC has more jump in their step than the Eagles do right now. Eagles just in their zone. They're kind of not sure exactly how they want to attack it. And USC's pulled a couple shots off of it.
This one back up to the top of the zone. Chow deflected right in front of the net. What a deflection by USC. The shot taken by Chow. And I believe that looks like that's Preston Pats. So Pats with his 9th goal of the season. And just like that, USC taking a quick 2-0 lead over the hometown Eagles, putting up more of a fight than I think Eastern Washington thought with only 10 skaters.
Well, now Eastern's going to have to wake up. If they weren't in their defense, now they're going to have to because, again, it just USC came out and they said, no, we're going to play some hockey tonight, and they're showing it in their play.
Well, really, when you've got a short bench like them, the best thing you can do is pull ahead early and kind of park the bus later in the game and not exert so much energy having to chase the puck around.
And then you can also do short shifts to keep it fresh. So this really bodes well for USC right now.
Now a chance for Waylon Belair. He got his first goal of the season. A chance by Hood, and he sends that into the netting and then runs over the Trojan in front of him. I think those two are going to combine for a lot of points as we get deeper into this season, Gary.
If we could show it on the screen, that's exactly what we were talking about at the start of the game, how they're anticipating where everybody at. Blair picked it up. He knew what he was going to do. He skated in. I thought he was going to shoot. Hood comes trailing, and he did a nice little touch pass, a little feather pass over to Hood that he buried the shot. And that, again, goes back to now they're getting comfortable. I think you're right. I think with Blair and Hood, you're going to see some points coming out of those two players.
So quick recap on that latest goal coming 5:55 of the first period. It was Levine from Chow and Salzgarber. Or I'm sorry, they're going to give that to Pats from Chow and Salzgarber. The first goal, Lauren from Toulouche.
I think that was a good move by the coaching staff. Again, that's why I said you got to give them some kudos with their process and system because teaming Hood and Blair up, they are looking like they are going to catch fire. They did great last week, and they picked up right where they left off.
Well, and they're such different players. I mean, just top to bottom. A good shot by Frank Flood through the traffic. Thompson there to give some trouble to Chansey, but nothing coming of it. But you look at Hood, he's big, he's strong, he's got a great shot from distance. He's always surveying the ice. Belair, he's smaller, he's quicker, he can get into those corners, and he's always in the right spot at the right time, it seems like.
His hockey IQ is extremely high. You could see that to the start of the year, but with the confidence he's gaining in himself, you're seeing more of how he can play, and that's just going to benefit Eastern because that kid, I think he's going to be a major find for EWU, and I really like watching him and Hood play now because they're just looking for each other constantly, and that means they meshed really well.
And it looks like Thompson going to go to the box for an interference. Not a great first 7 minutes for Eastern Washington so far in this one.
No, they're kind of imploding right now. I mean, they're down by 2 goals, and then they're picking up some penalties. The one on Young, I don't know. Still don't know why he got it, but that one interference, yeah, that was a good call by the ref.
And I'm just going to go on record saying I hate that rule in the ACHA. If you call a delayed penalty and they score, that should be the end of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We talked about it last week, and that rule makes no sense to me whatsoever.
I mean, especially at this level where typically they can maintain possession of the puck long enough to get an extra skater on the ice. This time I don't think that was the case. But Eastern's been on the wrong end of that a few times this year, and maybe that's why I'm a little salty about it.
No, you're right. They have been. But, no, I totally disagree with that rule. It makes absolutely 0 sense. You're penalizing the team twice. And if it's not an egregious penalty, I don't know why you're hammering them 2 times. So I would say that if USC that happened to them, I would still be hammering that rule.
Absolutely. Well, and you saw that it did lead to a USC goal, and now they're looking for that second power play goal as Quezada put that one right into the Eagles and blazoned across the chest of Brendan Carew.
I think you nailed it on the head about 2 minutes ago. I think USC caught Eastern sleeping. I think they thought it was going to be a tad bit easier than what it is because USC's putting up one heck of a fight.
No, and we saw that yesterday when they played WSU. They are not a team to be taken lightly. Chopped back behind the net to Pats. Pats has Chow waiting up at the top of the zone. Instead, he's going to go back behind the net, now all the way up top to Chow. He's going to go parallel to the blue line, skates himself back into the top of the zone corner. Bouncing puck off of a couple of players through the zone, but deflected away before it got to Carew. Under a minute now on the power play. Stevenson going to look to just get that down the ice. And Chow doing a good job of keeping it in the zone. but just enough to allow the Eagles to kill off a couple more penalties, or a couple more seconds on the penalty. 30 seconds now as Wells picks up the puck behind his own net. Eastern Washington looking to build out of their own end. Lusk seeing that stretch pass coming. He's going to receive it off of the wall down in the corner. Lusk looking for somebody out front. Can't find anybody. Eastern still shorthanded, and that one's going to go up into the USC bench with 12 seconds left on the Sam Thompson minor penalty.
You got to give credit to the USC player, and I think that was Quezada. He hassled Lusk all the way down, because if he wouldn't have, Flood did an outstanding job of putting himself right on the side of the goaltender, and he would have had a one-timer, but Lusk couldn't get it to him. That's because the USC player was hassling him.
Now Lusk with it again, trying to get through the zone. Gives a little shove to Tulich. And then gets back on defense and wins the puck back for the Eagles. Unfortunately, chopped it too far down the ice, and Cho's going to handle it. Gets pushed up the ice to Lauren. Now this one's going to go all the way down the ice. Penalty expired. They're going to say it was touched up. So no icing. Back to five-a-side hockey. Eastern trailing by 2 early as the Trojans came out firing.
Well, again, if you look at Lusk and Flood that time, that's what I was talking about earlier. They're just finally knowing where they're going to be. Lusk knew that's where he was going to go. Flood set himself up. It's just the USC defender intercepted it. But nice job of both players knowing where they're going to be, and they went for that play. So
Hood is ultra aggressive out there tonight. I've noticed in his 3 shifts, he's throwing the body, he's throwing the stick.
Well, that's Mr. Hood's style. He likes the physical part of the
does.
game, and he has great offensive skill. He's just a complete all the way around hockey player. That's all you can say about him.
Some people might call his play style cathartic.
Again, that's why you're the best player in college. I didn't even think about it. That was a good one.
Sometimes you got to use that word a day, Cal.
I'm going to reflect on that one right now. I'm going to take a pause and think about that one. That was a good one.
But while you're doing that, Isaac Hood blowing up people behind the net.
Cathartic. That was a good. I like that. I do.
Hood circling the zone, looking to get to their first, and it's chopped down the ice by Hughes. Now 3 Eagles giving chase. Belair goes towards the front, but Isaac Hood says, no need, buddy. I'll do it alone.
But again, outstanding job by Belair with Hood, because he saw Hood going in with the puck, and he just, rather than not do anything, he just slowly skated right toward the net. So if there was a rebound, Belair would have been there for a tipping. But again, we talked about it earlier. They are really meshing extremely well. They're not even they're not talking. They just know that's what we're going to do. So if Hood decided to pass it, Belair would have had a tip, but Hood just buried it, and there was nothing chance he could have done on that one. Very impressive how that line's working together. Very, very impressive.
Now USC looking to reset behind their own net and trying to answer and keep that momentum that they had.
Well, you were talking about Hood. We got a penalty coming up against USC.
Eastern's got to be a little careful around their net with that floating puck. So they're going to give the assist on that goal to Waylon Belair. So there we see it. Hood from Belair, Eastern's first goal, 10:45 of the first period. And it looks like it's going to be Pat's going to serve his first penalty of the contest.
They called a hook on him.
So that penalty officially coming 11:17 of this first period. Pat's for hooking, putting Eastern Washington on their first power play of the evening. Back to the goal scorer, Hood. He's going to feed it down the wall to Flood. Taken away, but held into the zone by Hood. He thinks he sees something. Couple of steps, and then whips it into the stick of Chow. So Eastern going to have to head back down behind their net, reset. Wells almost overskates the puck, and now he's just going to bring it right up the center of the ice. He's got Hood on the far side, but goes to Lusk on the near side. Lusk has Thompson in the center. Big pressure from Toulouche. Off of the leg pads of Chow, you could hear the thunder. Hood going to wait for the rest of his team to get back onside. Now chips it down for Flood. It's going to go over to the far side. Lusk waiting for it. But picking it up first was Quezada for the Trojans. Back to Lusk. Lusk near side to Hood. Touched up in the middle of the zone and breaks it up just enough that Hood's got to regroup behind the net. Hood behind the USC net. Kicks it out to his stick. Now to Thompson at the near side. Hood screening the defender in front of Thompson. Thompson takes a couple of strides, puts a shot on net. Bouncing puck out front. Frank Flood! Backhand, dirty, gritty goal that we love.
I'm telling you, that kid, we talked about it last week. He found his niche, and he was just playing havoc with that USC Trojans defense, but he couldn't move Frank. Frank just stood there, and he was waiting for a rebound or some kind of tip. He found his spot for EWU, and he's going to continue to get points because he's just a handful. Great job, Frank Flood. I'm glad to see it because you play so hard out there. I'm glad it's paying dividends for you. And I felt bad for the USC defense because he was trying to move, but he couldn't get him out of the way. And Flood's a handful. You're not going to move him easily. So unless you realize that, you're going to be surprised trying to get him out of the way. But there he was. Just did a little tapping behind the net, got in there. He found his home.
So that goal officially 12:31 of the first period. A Flood from Hood on the power play. So Eastern answering the two USC goals. There's sounds like some party instruments in the stands today. Some kazoos, maybe. The fans are ready.
Could be, because that there's this one section in front of us. They're just great.
You never know what you're going to get at Eags After Dark.
Yeah. And now you got the glow stick happening.
The Trojans looking to get back on top early. We talked about their short bench, and really, I think if you're the Trojans against the Eagles tonight, you've got to pull ahead early and keep that lead if you want a chance to come out here with a W tonight.
Well, the reason, too, is because fatigue, you'll start feeling it more if you're behind.
Belair tried to get that out to Hood.
You are correct. Those are kazoos that are being played all over the place here. I don't know where they got them, but it's good to hear.
Good old college hockey. Hood now plays it off the wall. He's got Belair in the middle. Tries to toe drag around to Luke. Jake Best picking it up. Feeds it up to the top of the zone to Wells. Wells feeds that towards the goal mouth. Now Hood. Jake Best trying to clean it up. Hood had a wild spin around shot there that somehow from an odd angle still almost found the back of the net. Hood picks it up near side. He's going to whip it in as he steps across that center stripe. And Chansey going to hold on to that. Young dumps that in towards the goal mouth. Good shot from center ice. Eastern off, so Thompson having to reset in the neutral zone, giving USC a chance to gather their thoughts for a moment. Puck out into neutral ice. Through the center of the zone there to Pats. And that'll be icing with 5:02 left in this first period. Already 4 goals tonight. It was USC that opened the scoring thanks to Noah Lauren. And that was followed up by Preston Pats, his team leading 10th goal of the season. And then it was Eastern Washington. Hood from Belair and Flood from Hood. And now Eastern knocking on the door again. Thompson on the far side. He's going to put that shot on net. Flood uses his body, but here come the Trojans. Chow loses the puck in neutral ice. chops it young behind the Eastern Washington net, and now it's going to skitter out into neutral ice. They're going to say that wasn't offside. There was a few inches of white paint between the puck and the blue line. This one kicked wide of the net, just barely by Carew. Now the Eagles looking to head through the zone. Lusk going to get on his horse. He's going to beat out both Trojan defensemen. Tries to feed it into the center to Flood, but he gets deflected high into the air. A baseball bat type swing by Flood goes nowhere, but he's going to take it away right at the blue line and dump it back behind the USC net. Shot taken right on target. That one taken by Ryan Carew. And that'll be an icing as it's chopped through the zone. 3:50 left to play in this opening period. And I don't know if it's coincidence, but it sure feels like this crowd's getting into the head of USC. Seems like every time they start yelling, USC just sends that puck down the ice.
Well, I think it's the kazoos. I'm leaning on the kazoos that are causing that. But I want to go back to where Frank Flood's been playing right now. Every good hockey team, I don't care if you're in the pros all the way down, every good team will put someone in front of the net. Now, that's a difficult spot to be because you're going to get hammered. You're going to get hit on quite a bit. It takes a certain player to do that. But if you find one, you're going to generate a lot of points. You saw that now last week with Flood, and today you're seeing it. He doesn't mind getting banged on, and it really plays havoc with the goalie and the defenseman when you got someone willing to do that.
That has been one of the keys to Eastern's success over the last few weeks is positioning of their players, and a lot of that is due to Frank Flood parking himself right in front of the netminder, because even if he's not scoring these goals, he's distracting the goalie quite a bit on those loose pucks and allowing for other players to come in.
And he's taking a goal and a defenseman out of the play also because they got to worry about him. So basically you nullify that D-man. So it helps all the way around. It's just a tough spot to play it, but Frank definitely is warmed up to it, let's say.
Wells going to dump that just out of the reach of Stevenson, but they're going to say it was touched up. Good dump towards the goal mouth by Wells. Stevenson going to finish his check on the far side. Now Belair giving chase on the near side. With some quick feet comes Chow through the neutral zone. He has it poked off of his stick as he inched towards the goal mouth, and now on the far side is Best. That into the midsection of the Trojan. Getting a couple of man miss, and then finally getting the shot off there was Salzgable. And they're going to say no icing as that one basically dies, and then they're going to blow the icing call. So 2:31, it's going to come back down into the Eastern Washington end of the ice.
But isn't Chow impressive? That kid is so smooth. You can tell his IQ's higher than a kite on hockey, but he's just so quick, deceptive. I like watching him play for USC.
He is so fast. He's one of those players that, even though he's got the stick work, doesn't need it because he'll just blow right around the outside of you.
Yeah.
No deke required.
He has that second gear that when he wants to use it, you better be ready for him because he'll be right by you.
So face-off coming. Jake Best for Eastern Washington. Chris Chow for the Trojans. Eventually. Puck down now. Won by the Trojans. Back up to the top of the zone to Quezada. It's going to squirt out into the middle, and Hood sees Belair. Tried to get it to Whalen. Now Whalen going to have to speed up. They're going to say it was touched up, so no icing. Belair taken down in the corner with the USC Trojan.
He's throwing his body around too now.
Wells keeps that in, dumps it into the corner. Chow going to try and rocket that down the ice. Touched up by his own man out front to Belair, just out of his reach. Whalen Belair in the corner. Looks to go back up top to Wells. Decides otherwise. Now Wells tries to keep it in the zone. Pokes it away right at the blue line. A couple of players running into each other. Now over to Hood. This one just past the stick of Hood into his skates. Still battling for it as Isaac Hood. Steps on a stick. From his knees, passes out front. Trent Wells takes that shot. Lazakovich fires it from the far side. A couple of Eagles playing pass behind the net were Belair and Hood. Belair knocked over as the puck back down towards the Eastern Washington net. Lazakovich He's going to push it forward now to Wells. Wells, no help. He's going to have to take it to the goal mouth himself. Loses a skate. He's going to end up in the goalie, and I think that's going to be, they're actually going to call a trip. We'll see who that's going to be on. From our vantage point, it looked like Wells kind of lost his own footing. It'll be a trip on USC. We'll find out who. This penalty coming 18:50 of this first period.
Now, I'm wondering if they didn't call on the netminder the trip.
It looks like Driscoll's going to head to the box.
Because like you said, Wells looked like he fell, and he was the only one around, and the goaltender pushed his stick out.
No, and it looks like they are going to give it to Declan Driscoll because the officials are the one that placed the player in the box. Oh, no, I lied. There's a 1-up on the scoreboard. Typically, you don't see the officials caring who serves that penalty. Shot taken from on top of the circle by Flood. So 2-2 on the scoreboard. 14-10 in the shots category. Eastern leading USC here on Eags After Dark at the University Recreation Center. 1 minute left in the period. Hood leaves it off for Wells. Now back to Hood. Fires a shot, kicked away by the diving Trojan. Hood's going to leave that off for Thompson. He's got to be careful with his stick as that one goes up a little high. The Eagles able to keep it in. On the far side, that's Trent Wells. Now Thompson with it. He has a stick lifted from behind. He's got all sorts of options. Surveys the zone, decides to go to Wells. Wells circles back towards the blue line on the far side. Now Lusk on the far side in front of the VIP corner. Wells now. Near side. Hood to the far side, trailing Lusk by just a step and a half. Lusk not looking at where his defender was. He's going to send it back to Wells. Under a minute left on the power play. Wells is going to circle back behind his own net and run out this period. So the Eagles will come back with 51 seconds of power play time in the second period. But as it stands, both teams with a power play goal, both teams tied at 2 goals apiece. It's the Eagles and the Trojans, and we'll be back with the second period in 20 minutes. You're watching Eastern Washington University men's hockey. Friends and family, welcome back to the Eastern Washington University Recreation Center. And we just want to give a quick shout out to the Snack Club, the Eagles Hockey Booster Club, serving popcorn here at the URC tonight. The Booster Club taking care of the team, paying for flights this year, paying for snacks in the snack bin over there, and providing popcorn for free, donations only here at the URC. If you want to learn how to help the Booster Club, head over to EaglesHockeyBoosters.com. They've got merch for this weekend. You can sign up to be a booster. Lots of member benefits there. But a huge thank you to the group that helps keep the Eagles safe and on the ice. But we are underway here in the second period between the Eagles and the Trojans. In net for USC is Heath Chansey. He had 12 saves in that first period. Gary, USC coming out pretty strong against these Eagles to start this off, pulling ahead 2-0 quick. What do you expect from these two teams in this long change second period?
Well, if I was USC, I would do short shifts because they are short on the bench. I think they just caught Eastern off guard. I think Eastern came in a little flat-footed. USC decided they were going to give it everything they had in the first 10 minutes, and you could see that they were definitely taking it to Eastern, but Eastern finally woke up and started to play a lot better as a unit. So I would say Eastern would probably pick up where they dropped off, again, with the stretch passes, anticipatory style. I can see them picking up the body, too, because that'll wear down the Trojans also to get them more tired, to get them ready for that third period. So that's what I'm expecting out of them.
The Trojans back to full strength as Driscoll serving the rest of a tripping minor for the netminder. Chansey exits the box. So back to five-a-side hockey, and here comes Chow. Forehand, backhand, leg pad by Brendan Carew.
Outstanding stop by Carew, but that shows you just how much skill Chow has, because he did forehand, backhand 3 times before he tried to put it on the net. So that's how talented that kid is.
That'll be icing on Eastern Washington, and the puck will head back the other direction.
But we were talking about Frank Flood finding a home in that crease. I was looking at it now. Frank's up there tied for 4th in points with Sam Thompson at 18 coming in. He's found where he wants to be, and he's putting the puck in the net, or he's getting an assist off of it. So good for him.
And that was Frank's 10th goal of the season earlier tonight. So it's always good to be in double digits before the break, especially at the ACHA level. Lusk across the blue line. Carries that puck back behind his body, tried to whip it forward, but right into the skates of a Trojan. Now Thompson in the near corner, skates behind the USC net, puts it up to Wells at the top of the zone now. Wells puts that on net, fires it just wide. Thompson with the rebound, and he puts it wide of the net as well. Lusk feeds it back to Sam Thompson. He's behind the USC cage. Now giving pressure on the far side is Kim. Back to the stick of Thompson. Thompson has a man on the back post, a swing and a miss by Joel Lusk. Good opportunity for the Eagles, still in possession now. Flood, he's going to chase it back behind the net, has it taken away by Chris Chow. Chow a little deke back behind the red line, and now to the skates of Hood. Hood wins it back for the Eagles. Out front to Wells, and then off of the stick of Carew into the neutral zone. The Eagles having to reset. Carew going to fire that in off the back of the wall and off of the cage. Quezada on the far side, or pushes it up onto the far side. Stevenson able to keep it in, but right to the stick of Kim. Kim going to take it back behind the USC Trojans net. And he has it taken off of his stick by a couple of different Eagles there. Battle down in the corner. This one pushed across the zone. Carew able to poke that one back down into the corner, keeping the pressure on the Trojans. Now USC looking to break out. On the far side is Lauren. He scored the first goal today. Backhand pass to Chow. Into the legs of the Eastern Washington captain, Wells. And now Lauren having to battle for it on the far side. Puck chopped out into the neutral zone. Now Masterson with it. Tried to push it over to Hofacker. Puck just across the blue line. And Jaden going to put that on net from distance. One hand backwards pass towards the front of the net. Best trying to take that away in the neutral zone. A couple of players slapping at it. And finally, Tierney comes away with it. Mac Tierney on the left side across the blue line. Looks to take a couple of strides towards goal and clangs it off of the iron. Mac Tierney unable to convert on that, but still lots of pressure on Heath Chansey. Back out into the neutral zone. Eric's going to dump that in. And now it's Toulouche. He's going to bring it in. Has it taken away by Belair. Hood now trying to send it back to Belair. Gets it off of the stick of Salzgable. Now back to Toulouche. Circles back behind the net is Young. He's going to bring it back to the near side. Now up to the top of the zone to Hood. Hood floats that past him. Nobody there in a black uniform. So USC going to break into the zone, and they're going to call that offside as Pat's going to grab that floater and now back into the neutral zone.
Well, you got to tip your hat to USC. They got Eastern a little bit discombobulated right now, and Eastern hasn't had the time to set up, especially in the neutral zone. For that, you got to credit USC on that one because they're really actually clogging up the neutral zone really well, and Eastern can't spread themselves out. So I see that as an adjustment EWU can do, get themselves spaced out a little bit better.
Puck sent to the center of the zone. Chow, an easy shot just off of the mark. Tried to float that one into the back of the net. Flood with a chance right out front. Now backhanded by Thompson. Again, Flood waiting for that. That time it was actually Lusk. Lusk has Thompson in front of him. He's going to put that on net. And Chansey going to snatch that out of the air for his 13th save of the night.
That was a nice play by Lusk. What he did, he watched Thompson. Thompson rolled off the D-man from USC, and that's how he got that open in that top slot area. Nice shot, good save by Chansey, but that was set up by Thompson, just making the defenseman follow him.
14:32 left in the second period. 2's on the scoreboard for both teams. That puck bouncing up into the neutral zone. One-handed chop by Wells as he gets back on defense. Chow across the blue line, fires a shot, kicked away by the toes of Carew. Flood has a man crashing through the neutral zone. That's Lusk who kicks it just a bit too far forward, but he's still the first one to gain possession. Backhands it out front, but kicked away again by the netminder. Now a 2-on-2 rush for the Trojans, and they're going to rush just a bit too fast. And that'll be an offside call. Exactly 14 minutes left on the clock in the second period.
You can't say enough about how the Trojans are playing right now. They're not allowing Eastern to use the body. They're staying away from the boards quite a bit. And I think Eastern wants to do that to wear them down, but so far USC is not allowing it. They're going more of a speed game. So it's interesting to see how they're combating such a short bench.
Now bringing it across the line this time is Hughes. Young back behind the net a bit, discombobulated. Now over to the far side as Stevenson chops that ahead. Trojans hold it in neutral ice. Taken away by Eastern Washington. Fed out front to Hofacker. He can't hold on to it. And now here comes Chow across the blue line. Fires a shot midsection of Carew, bouncing around, pinned to the ice. 13:28 of the second period.
I'll tell you, the Trojans aren't going to go away. They're putting on as much pressure that they did in the first period, and that's a credit to their coaching staff because there's no let up on this team. They don't look tired at all.
Well, speaking of pressure, we would never pressure you to do anything if you're out there watching. But if you want to support the team, they're in the middle of their fall fundraiser right now, and you can get a shirt, workout shirt, hoodie. Just scan that QR code right there on your screen or head over to EWU, EaglesHockey.com. Again, no pressure, but it's your chance to support the team and rock a pretty cool logo designed by the Eagles' very own ACHA shot on net there by Trenton Wells. Again, you can just scan that QR code right there on the screen, or you can head over to EWU, EaglesHockey.com, click on the store, get your shirt, your 100% polyester workout shirt, or your hoodie shirt starting at just $20, hoodies at $35.
I'm going to go on the limb, and I'm going to say if somebody got their purchase and they come up and see us in the booth, you'd give them an autograph. That's how confident I am. So if you're buying a shirt, hoodie, whatever, you want an autograph from Tyler, who's the best play-by-play in college, he'll give you one. He won't balk at it. I set him up on that. But, yeah, you can get an autograph from Tyler.
I think we just call those signatures.
Oh, well, okay.
You have to be famous for an autograph.
Well, you are. So you're just being humble on me.
Bel Air there with a big shot. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Waylon on the board again this weekend.
Not at all. That kid's showing his offensive skill.
And Hood wings that one just off of the mark. Eastern making chancy work here. Now the bouncing puck as Wells has to circle back into his own end. Quick turnaround to Hood, who's going to dump that towards the goal. Bouncing puck mishandled by the netminder again. Rebounded right out front. That rebound picked up by Bel Air.
But you see what Waylon did on that. He didn't even try to do anything. He just did a nice backhand shot trying to get a rebound off the goaltender.
And Hood has so much confidence in his line mates here. He's not even really holding the puck for very long. He's just putting it where he knows that they should be. Almost unfortunate the other direction as he deflected that one towards the goal mouth. And Carew covering that up as he thought there was somebody on the back post. A good pass across by Chow. I think he was just looking for the goaltender to make a mistake there.
He wasn't. If you notice what Mac Turney did on that one, outstanding job by him. He stopped the puck and he kind of let it roll into Carew so Carew could smother it. Heads up play by Mac on that one because that could have been dangerous because there was a Trojan right behind him, so that puck would have went out. That could have been a one-timer.
Face-off coming. Glove side of Brendan Carew. Joel Lusk circles behind the Eagles' cage. Tries to bring it up. And able to do so. Gets it to Flood. Flood's got Lusk in front of him. Lusk overskates the goal, but out front was Thompson. Too many USC sticks in the way. Now back out into neutral ice. Tierney doing good work with his stick there, at least slowing down the Trojans.
Tierney sure has been playing well the last month. His game has really stepped up. He's been a solid D-man for the Eagles.
Flood picks that up in the neutral zone, gives it to Lusk, waiting on the far side. A couple of Eagles were Tierney and Thompson. Tierney going to head back to the bench. Flood going to come away with that. He's got Lusk out front. Bouncing puck, backhanded towards the goal mouth, but just wide of the mark. Now looking to use his speed coming up the ice was Quezada. Thompson picks up the puck on the left side, trying to go top shelf from a low angle and can't get enough on it. Goes through the crease. Battle in front of the Eastern Washington bench for the puck. Ryan Carew chips it down towards the Zamboni corner. Now to Luch on the near side. Surveys the ice. Easy touch pass into the neutral zone. And Young going to chop that back towards Chow. Carew picks it up on the far side. Rims it around to Casey Young behind the Eagles net. Errant pass to Chow out front. He has it taken off of his stick by Stevenson. And then sends the puck to the far side to Hofacker. Hofacker has to beat Toulouch to it. He's not able to, so it's back out into the neutral zone. Now an opportunity for Stevenson. Back to Masterson. He feeds it out front, taken away, well read by Chow. Now he's going to use his speed to try and go around Wells, and Wells is going to sit him straight down. I'm not sure what Wells is supposed to do in that situation.
They're calling it interference, but I'm sorry, I'm with you. He just stood the guy up. I mean, the guy tried to go around and try to deke him, and he just put him down. That's a tough one. So
Eastern Washington going to head back to the box here. And this time it's going to be the captain, Trent Wells. Going to take a 2-minute timeout at 10:10 of the second period for an interference. So the Eagles going to be without their captain for the next 2 minutes. A good opportunity for USC to pot another one here and put themselves on top. Toulouch to Chow off of the net, or off the wall behind the net. It's going to bounce back out front to Carew.
You know, that's a penalty assistant coach Joey Porco would not be upset about, since he operates with the defenseman. I mean, as a defenseman himself, he knows that's how you got to take the body on the person. So,
and again, we don't typically question the officials. I'm just curious what they expected him to do that wasn't that, because he kind of just stood in the spot that he was in.
Yeah, he didn't move toward. I mean, he just kind of let the USC player come into him, and so
puck picked up in neutral ice. Pressure from Best, and he almost got there, second-guessed himself, and let USC get that one through their zone. So now Toulouche with it. He has it taken off of his stick. It's going to go back into neutral ice, where Chow is going to circle back into his own end. Trojan captain surveys the ice, thinks about leaving it off for his own man, and instead he's going to bring it up the near side. The Eagles going to send that back down the ice. 1:10 left on the power play for USC. USC converting on 1 of 2 already tonight. Bringing it into the zone is Quezada. Carew looked a little off balance there as he moved left to right.
Eastern's going to get another penalty.
Long skate for Chansey. USC going to hold on to it. And this is the type of situation why I don't think that carryover rule makes a whole lot of sense in the ACHA, because if USC were to score here, they'd get this goal plus another opportunity on the power play.
Yeah, it's a double whammy. I don't understand the logic of it until someone can explain it to me. I won't get the logic of it.
Shot taken by Toulouche at the top of the zone. 6 skaters on the ice for USC, just 4 for Eastern Washington. Puck bouncing around, and the wrecking ball that is Isaac Hood comes in there and clears the nearest Trojan away from his netminder. And looks to me like that was Salzgable on the end of that frustration from Isaac Hood. So we'll have 15 seconds of 5-on-3 opportunity here for the Trojans. Their best chance in this period.
And Mr. Hood's the one that got that penalty. That's maybe where some of his frustration came. But you saw Jaden the Tank Hofacker. He was down there throwing the body, too, to get the player away from his netminder. And so Eastern, it's a weird game to me, Tyler. I don't know if you noticed it, but Eastern's owning 3/4 of this rink. It's when they get in the offensive end, that's where they're having problems.
And they're going to give Hood 2 minutes for boarding that one up into the netting behind the goal.
But that's how it's striking me, is Eastern just kind of dominated from their end to the opposite blue line, and then it's kind of like they're having trouble setting up how they want to attack offensively.
I think the most shocking stat, having watched this whole game, is the fact that USC and Eastern both have 17 shots so far. Clanging off of the iron by Chow. Now Best going to give chase. The Eagles have to be cautious having the long change here in the second period. Out of the box comes Wells. So back to 5-on-4 hockey for the next minute 35. That's going to go out into the neutral zone. USC having to reset. Kicked back to Chow. Chow to Toulouche on the far side. And handled by Quezada. And now Eastern a chance. Thompson fires that shot. He's taken out. That'll send a Trojan to the box for a trip. I think that's Toulouche, but a good heads-up play by Sam Thompson. Saw that Chow had fallen down and chased that puck down, got the shot off, and drew a penalty. So a minute 16 of 4-on-4, and then 44 seconds of power play time for the Eagles.
And there was absolutely nothing Toulouche could have done. He had to take him out, and he did. I mean, he did a nice slide, but if he wouldn't have, Thompson would have been all by himself.
So 7:21 left in this second period. Toulouche in the box for the Trojans. Hood in the box for the Eagles. Face off in the offensive end for the Eagles. Wells puts that on net, kicked away by Chansey. Wells towards the blue line. Quick stop, turned around. Able to get it down the ice just a little bit. But not able to keep it in the attacking end. Now circles back towards his own end. Fires it to his D partner, Young. Young sees a man coming off of the bench. That's where he goes with it to Flood. And now Lusk looking for the wraparound. He's got Flood waiting out front. He's got Young on the far side. That's where he goes. Young to Flood to the leg pad. Good tic-tac-toe goal opportunity for the Eagles, but an even better save by Chauncey. He read that one well.
That was an outstanding offensive attack by the Eags on that one. Really smooth passing.
And now a 2-on-2 opportunity. Lusk. He's going to take it goalward. Wrap that towards the forehand. He had Flood on the far side, but again, Chauncey shutting the door.
I don't know if Chauncey was the same goalie as last year, but he's outstanding. He's made some incredible saves for the Trojans. And I remember last year, their netminder was incredible. Really talented netminder. So I was trying to look to see on the stats if he was last year, but I didn't see it. But however you look, he has just been stellar for the Trojans tonight.
He comes into the game 2-2, a .475 goals against average and an .885 save percentage, which are pretty good numbers for this level of hockey.
It is. And he's playing like, you can tell he's very talented.
Puck out front, out of the box comes Hood. Eastern on a power play. And here they come, a 3-on-2. Stevenson trying to put it on net, can't get it any further than the Trojan defenseman. This one flicked down the ice. Carew going to come out and get it. Lays it off for Tierney. Waiting down the ice is Stevenson. He's waiting at the blue line. But battle still going on in the Eastern Washington end of the ice. Eric's now pinned up against the wall behind the net. He's going to bring it up along the low side here. He's got Stevenson ahead of him, and Eric's is just going to dump it in. Stevenson going to give chase. That one chopped over to the far corner as Holden Masterson, the first one there. It's going to get rimmed around to the near side. And penalty expires. Back to five-a-side hockey as kicking it ahead was Hughes. Now a shot by Hood, blockered into the window behind the net. Isaac Hood trying to send that around the corner and ends up going just a bit too tall. So we'll have another stoppage with just under 5 minutes left in the second period. Eastern 20 shots, USC 17. Well, that's the only stat that they're separated on the scoreboard. All knotted up at 2. All 4 goals rather coming in the first period. Swoop with some interpretive dance for the crowd here at the URC. Shot taken, kicked into the corner. Best now with it. He's got Laughlin out front. Now Best up to the top of the zone to Hofacker. Over to Hood, who backhands it into the corner. That's going to go in front of the Eastern Washington net. Hood now looks like playing a little bit of defense here. So he's going to push that up ahead to Laughlin. Sticked away. Now pushed ahead by Hood again. He's going to carry it across the blue line. Winds back, fires a shot, and he's got a knack for hitting the goaltender right in the mask. He does it again.
He likes shooting it high. A lot of his goals comes in the top shelf, and he's got a quick snapshot, and he's got a hellacious slap shot, so he can get away with that. And nice job by Chauncey on that one to even corral that in. In fact, actually, he's adjusting his helmet right now because Hood has just a hellacious shot.
Well, and you can hear it from here. That smacked him right in the cage of his helmet. And I can't imagine that's fun as a netminder, first off. But it had to have been a heck of a shot to knock some of the straps, I guess, off of the top of the helmet. So 4:20 left to go. Eags after dark here on a Saturday night in Cheney. Game number 3 of the Pac-8 Showcase. These Trojans squared off against Washington State last night and came away with a victory. Earlier today, it was the Cougars against San Jose State, losing 6-3. Washington State went a little viral this week for having to run the stairs here in this building after their loss last weekend. So they'll be looking for some big wins here this weekend to right the ship for Washington State. But right now, Eastern Washington looking to continue the streak that they're on. Lusk with it, stick handle, sends it back behind him to Thompson. Thompson put into the boards, that up to the top of the zone. Young keeping it in. Big pass to the corner, maybe a little too strong for Thompson. It's puck out front off of the stick blade of Chansey. It was a good pass by Lusk. He just couldn't find Thompson. So 3:48 left in this second period. And we'll have another face-off in the USC end. USC hanging tight with Eastern Washington.
They are, and I give a lot of credit to Chansey on that one. I was just watching on that play. He's extremely quick with his glove and stick hand, and he's a top-notch goaltender.
Tierney fired that from the far side, right in front of the Eastern Washington bench. Now fighting for it, coming in there is Hofacker. Trojans struggling to get that into neutral ice, finally able to do so. And Jaden Hofacker there to send it right back in. To Luch on the far side. He's going to go near side now to Quezada. Puts it in the neutral zone. Masterson, slow to get back on side, and Wells just has to dump that in and give away possession. Now into neutral ice, Chow with it. He's got one man to beat in front of him. He's going to go parallel to the blue line and then just dump it into the corner and allow his team to chase it. So one kicks out to the far side. Toulouche with it. He's going to circle back towards the blue line. Now parallel to the blue line. Chow with the rocket over the top of Brendan Carew's glove. And just like that, Chow puts USC back on top with 2:57 left in the second period. The first time either team's found the back of the net.
Well, he's got a hellacious slap shot, and he did one time that one. I don't know if Carew even had a good look at it before it went past him. But Easter's got to keep an eye on Chow. He's just, he's all over the ice. He'll float back from a center to a deep position just to get some open shots. The guy is talented.
Best takes that one right off of the faceoff, tries to walk it in.
But I'm a bit surprised right out of anything. Eastern hasn't went to the body more, even though USC is trying to stay off the board just to wear them down with only basically 9 skaters out there and more short shift to see if they could wear them down a little bit more and get it in that last 10 minutes of the third, try to wear USC out. And right now, Eastern's not doing that, which really kind of surprises me. And I tell you can't say enough about Christopher Chow. That kid is just talent all over him.
That's his second point of the night. That goal officially coming 17:03 of the second period. Chow from Toulouche, putting USC up 3-2. Now Hood going to bring it across the blue line. Lays it off for Belair. Belair floats it back. And an opportunity right out front at the top of the crease. And Eastern Washington just not able to convert. Jake Best on the backside just couldn't find it with his tape. But Belair floated it over the stick of a Trojan right to Hood. And Hood saw Best on the back post. And just could not shut the door there.
And that was all Michael Hughes on that one for the Trojans. He stayed in where he was supposed to. He tied up Best stick, or that would have been an easy goal for him. So you got to tip your cap to Hughes, or this game would have been tied.
Under 2 minutes left to play in this second period. Lusk now takes that off the stick of a Trojan, bouncing puck and finally corralled by Chansey. The officials saw that bouncing around, doing a good job of waiting to see if he was actually going to hold on to it. And he was able to. So reset now.
That was the first time I've seen Chansey really had trouble with his shot. Usually he controls his rebounds really well, but he kind of lost control of it. But again, outstanding job by him keeping it and just locking it in on his arm.
The Eagles win the faceoff with the puck pinned up against the boards. Now here come the Trojans. Chow with a big miss. He's got 2 Eagles to take on. He's not afraid to shoot from distance, and he does.
I don't think Chow's afraid to shoot anywhere on that.
That's
to be honest with you, that's how accurate he is.
This puck sent down the ice. Flood going to beat out the Trojans, so no icing. Flood the first one there, looking for somebody. Backhand top shelf, freaking Flood.
Oh, Frank, outstanding job. I'm trying to see. I think he used I think he used Lusk as a decoy. I think
I
Lusk
think so.
came into the top of the slot. I think he took the goaltender's eye off of the defense and went over, and Frank just did a great job of just doing a nice tight circle around the net and just popped it in on a backhand. Excellent job by Frank Flood.
Can we take a second to talk about the lift on that backhand? That is not easy to do.
No.
The backside of your curve, and he went all the way to the top.
Not at all. That was just an outstanding. Instead of taking a big loop around the net, he cut in. He got right at the top of the crease, and that's where he buried the shot. A lot of times players will go way out. He didn't. He cut in, caught everybody off guard. Nice job by Frank Flood.
So, and a Trojan in the box now, as we're all tied up. And that'll be slashing on Hughes.
And I missed that. I did not catch that penalty because I guess I was just marveling at how Frank went around the net and just stuffed it in.
He always seems to get the clutch goals, the goals when they need to come.
He's definitely a momentum changer.
Joel Lusk dekes a Trojan out of his skates, beats Chansey, and clangs it off of the iron. Eastern just needing to hit that right post to win today's game of 3-post.
That's I swear once Lusk, he's just been snake bitten. He hits the post line. Once also started, he showed it last week when he popped a couple goals in. Once he gets some of those going more, I think you're going to see that kid just unleash with points on this. He just kind of gets the post just been playing havoc with him this year right now.
The Trojans trying to get away with a change here, but the officials wise up to it. And they'll send Salzgable back to the bench for Chow. I think if you're Eastern Washington, you probably would have taken that trade.
Okay, no question about it.
Flood with it again. He's got 2 on the night so far.
Hope he gets a Hattie.
He almost had an opportunity there right out front. And now here comes Chow, the number 8 for the Trojans the other way. He has it taken off of his stick by Hood with some speed, and Lane Eric's going to get the assist on that last goal.
Good for Lane. He's just a solid stay-at-home D-man.
And Hood tripping and falling down on the ice out there. It's a little slick tonight, but ends up right on top of the puck. Not able to keep that in, but that'll do it for the second period here. He was hoping just to let it stay there. But as it stands, both teams add 1 in this frame. So we'll head into the final 20 minutes. All knotted up at 3 between the Eagles and the Trojans. You're watching Eags After Dark, Eastern Washington University men's hockey. Friends and family, welcome back to the Eastern Washington University Recreation Center for the third period of this Pac 8 matchup between the hometown Eastern Washington Eagles and the visiting University of Southern California Trojans. Two teams both netting 2 in the first, 1 in the second. And now it's time for the third. Both teams squared up at 3. My name's Tyler Pisani, joined as always by Gary Allen. And Gary, tied at 3, Eastern finally pulling away in the shots category. What are the keys for this third period to get Eastern a win here on a Friday night?
Well, I think the number one is they're going to have to go back, and they haven't done it tonight. For the last 4 games, they've done a nice job in the offensive zone of a cycle game, especially in the high slot. And I like to see them go back to that. I think that'll be enough to get them pushed over against USC. Because, like I said earlier, they've owned 3/4 of this ice. It's just when they get in the opposing end, that's where they kind of break down. So I think if they go back to their cycle game, they'll be in good shape this period. Because besides that, they've actually dominated it overall. It's just they're just having trouble in that offensive zone.
Just haven't been able to find the back of the net. And can't find the puck there early in this third period. Eastern on a power play, as sitting in the box is Mike Hughes for a slash. That happened right after Flood scored his second goal of the game for Eastern Washington.
And I'd be remiss. A lot of it also has to do with Walton Chansey. He's actually stood on his head for the Trojans. But I think that's where if Eastern go back to a little cycle game down there, keep him off balance a little bit, I think that's where they're going to be able to stuff that puck in and against it. But that kid's played extremely well for the Trojans.
When you can see that save and then the immediate kind of bounce back up, he's feeling himself right now. And if you're Eastern Washington, you should be concerned about that.
I would. But again, a little movement, get some more traffic in front of them and see if they can distract him a little bit off of it. Besides that, Eastern's played a solid hockey game. It's just in the offensive zone they're struggling.
And now here come the Trojans the other direction. Puck back on the stick of Flood. Flood thinks about it, puts it on net. Baseball bat swing for the hat trick. Frank Flood does it again. A swing kept that stick below the crossbar, and it'll put Eastern Washington up. Just 58 seconds into this third period, Frank Flood with his third of the night.
Well, first of all, congratulations to Mr. Flood. He deserves it as hard as he plays. But the way it looked to me was he was actually looking to pass over to Luskin and hit off the defenseman's stick, and it went in the air, and Frank just batted it in off of that. Great heads-up play by Frank Flood. He's done everything in the last 4 games for Eastern.
Well, and he's had an opportunity earlier in this game to score kind of a similar goal and whiffed on the swing. This time he wasn't going to miss. A good chop down by Chow. And he's going to make Eastern build it out the hard way, as Thompson took that literally, sliding through the neutral zone.
And no question, he caught Chansey off guard on that one. I don't think Chansey thought he could get it out of the air. So nice job by Frank Flood. He earned that hat trick tonight.
Now Thompson takes a shot into the midsection of Chansey. It's Heath Chansey's 27th save of the night.
Are we looking at a Texas hat trick or whatever they call it?
We might be.
What'd you call a lure?
It's a haul. A haul, a Texas hat trick.
Frank
Eagle
does
hat
it.
trick.
I like Eagle hat trick, to be honest with you.
Still lots of game to be played. Eagles up by 1, and now here come the Trojans. Chow with it, thinks about the shot. Wide of the net, goes backwards 5-hole on Carew as it rebounded off of the end wall. And now Hood with it. He comes across the blue line. He's got Best crashing towards the goal mouth. That's where he goes with it. Best decides better than to try and imitate Flood. And he'll hold on to the puck for a moment before it's taken off by the Trojans. There's Belair in the mix.
I know one thing Eastern cannot let up. USC's not going anywhere. You can tell they play hard. They're constantly trying to work their system. So Eastern just got to keep going and putting more pressure on them. See if they can wear them down a little bit.
Now here come the Trojans through the neutral zone. Quezada having to fight off Belair. He's going to leave it off for Hughes. Hughes along the low wall, planted by Best. Eric's on the far side. Heavy pass ahead. Can't get it out of the zone. It's going to rim around the boards out into the neutral zone. Having to chase it back across the center stripe was Hughes. Having to battle with Stevenson, and now coming away with it is Chow.
And that's one thing Eastern has done an outstanding job tonight. You can tell USC's trying to set up in the neutral zone, and Eastern's just been clogging up. They can't get their wheels going on it. Outstanding job by the Eagles.
Young has it, cuts back towards the center, now towards the outside. Kicked ahead to Stevenson. He plays with it in the neutral zone, able to chop it in, but can't get it any further than Akili Taluch. Chansey lays it off behind his net for his own man, and the Trojans looking to head the other direction. Out into the neutral zone, misplayed bounce off of the wall by Kim, and Hofacker going to carry it in. He has it taken off of his stick, and now it's going to go to the far side. Masterson shields the puck, sends it up to the point. Bouncing puck out front, and Chansey finds it, covers it with 16:16 on the clock.
Hey, you just can't say enough good things about how Flood's been playing in the last month. He has taken his game up a couple, 2-3 levels. I mean, the guy is always around the puck. He knows what he wants to do, and he's banging on right in front of the net. Just outstanding hockey by him.
And hockey fans, the holidays right around the corner. Participate in the Eagles Fall Fundraiser. T-shirts, 100% polyester workout shirts, and hoodies available now. Just scan that QR code right there on your screen or head to EWEagleshockey.com. You'll get your apparel before the holidays. So if you want to buy a gift for a friend or buy a gift for yourself, you've earned it. Scan that QR code and head over to EWEagleshockey.com and click on store. Flood still hungry in the neutrals or in the offensive zone. Battled Chow, and now USC trying to build out of the neutral zone. A hard hit by Wells on the far side. Kind of had to tuck into that one so it didn't hit the player too high.
Well, that was a great adjustment by him. If he wouldn't have, he would have got a boarding on it.
A couple of Trojans run into each other in the center of the zone. Young going to chase this one down into the corner. Feeds it back out front, sticked away by the netminder. Belair now with it on his stick. Surveys the ice, going to use his speed, chops it down into the corner. And now here comes Hood. Hood picks his spot, leg patted away by Chansey. A good opportunity for Isaac Hood to clean that one up. USC doing a fairly good job of keeping Isaac Hood quiet since that first period where he had a goal and an assist. Young back behind his own net. He's going to bring it out through his own crease. Now ahead to Belair. Eastern Washington looking to build up. Belair going around the outside of Taluch. And now Hood going to bring it in there. Belair out front from Hood. And that one just a couple of steps behind Belair. But again, there is that Hood-Belair connection. It's resulted in one goal already tonight. And almost a second one.
Well, they're doing a great job of feather passing to each other. So it's kind of like, okay, now they're looking for each other. They know where they're going to be, and their passing them is right on the mark. That one was a little bit high, but for the most part, they are teamed up really well tonight.
Face-off coming, glove side of Chansey. Carew thinks about it, puts it towards the goal mouth, looking for somebody to clean it up there. And Masterson on the far side is where it goes. Masterson rocking the number 16, which if you've been following Eastern hockey for a while, you might remember that number as being the one on the back of assistant coach Joey Porco during his playing days. Lots of magic in that number. Puck out front to Hofacker, tries to get it on net, and it's going to get sent all the way to the far side. Now a shot taken from Trent Wells in front of the USC bench. Spinning around, Masterson almost taking Hofacker off of the puck. That's going to be a delayed call against O'Brien, I believe. It'll be a slash, or Shea O'Brien took that slash on Hofacker after he had gotten rid of that puck. This coming 6:39 of the third period.
Well, so far the Eagles have played a really solid game. They've just got to get their offensive attack a little more in sync. And again, I think they go back to that motion style of offense. That's what they're lacking right now. If they get on that, I think the Trojans could be in trouble.
What a move there by Wells to keep that one in.
Well, he's so talented, it's unbelievable. I just wish he would shoot more from the point because he's got a heck of a shot.
Carew leaves that off for Wells. He's going to bring it up the near side. Now here comes Lusk. Lusk going to use his speed, dump that in as he crosses the center stripe. It's going to rim around to the far side. Thompson there, 1.5 left on the power play. Thompson's got Hood on the back post. Nobody at the near side point. So that's going to float all the way back to Wells in front of the Eastern Washington net. The captain surveys the ice. Near side to Lusk, and a miscommunication between Lusk and Hood. Nobody saw that puck coming. Kills another few seconds off of the penalty clock, but now Lusk gains the blue line. Deflected straight down by Toulouche, and he'll get the deflection on that, but Lusk will get the goal. Unfortunate for the Trojans as that one goes 5-hole on Chansey, and that's why you put the puck on the net.
Yeah, there was nothing Chansey could have done on that one. Toulouche was in good position. He blocked the shot. It just ricocheted off of his and bounced in between the legs. But good for Lusk to keep going with it rather than giving up on it or something. He just kept going and he decided to let one go at the top of the slot. So nice job all the way around. It was just unfortunate that how the puck went off of the Trojans D-man stick.
So that unofficially was Toulouche's third assist of the day. But that won't show up on the score sheet. So the goal officially 7:33 of this third period. Joel Lusk unassisted. So it's going to be set back behind the net. Toulouche with it now. And the Trojans going to try and bring it up. Preston Pats. Here comes Hood. Easy touch pass off to the side. Best picks that up. He's got Belair behind him. Best still with it. Belair gets it over to Hood, and it's taken away at just the last moment. But you can see that Belair-Hood connection again out there.
What I'm noticing also the Eagles are doing now, which I'm a major fan of, now they're sending in two people to cause more traffic in front of Chauncey. And that's a great technique because it just plays havoc on the defense because they're not really sure what they want to do. And that last time was Lusk and Flood that went down there. Both of them did. So that's a good sign also. But then that goes with buying into the system.
Just going back to that Lusk goal, that's his second kind of odd goal in 2 games. He had a poke check goal in the last game against Idaho. On the far side, he was coming with some heavy forecheck pressure. Now here comes Belair. He's going to try and put some pressure on Chansey, but he just poked it off of the Vandal stick in the last game, but we're right in the back of the net. Kind of a similar scenario where the netminder just had no idea it was coming. So good on Joel Lusk. Sometimes that luck is what you need to find the back of the net.
Well, it's huge too, and I think with Lusk being snake bitten by hitting the post so many times in the last 3-4 games, that might be enough to get him. Or okay, now he's starting to believe like, how can I beat the goalie and the post? Because he has all the offensive skills needed. I just think he's had some bad luck with the post. And it's good. I don't care how he scores. I think that'll kick him into gear. Way too talented player not to have a few more in his belt. We got a penalty coming up now. It looks like it's going to go against the Eags.
And circling back to what you were saying, that was Joel's 9th goal of the season. Puts him back in the points lead, tied with Isaac Hood at 23 points on the season so far. And it's Stevenson that'll head to the snack bin.
They gave him on a hook on that one. But you're right. And I mean, again, with Lusk, he's so talented. I don't know how many posts. That's not a stat we care, but I bet he's hit at least 10 That's how close he is. It's only a matter of time before it starts finding the back of the net. He's just way too talented.
Well, he's already got 2 tonight that have hit the post. And now you can start to see Chansey coming out of his net a little bit and helping his team not have to make that full 200-foot journey back the other direction.
I think now USC is going to have to start taking some chances that they may not be comfortable with doing in the first 2 periods. But being down by 2, shorthanded, I wouldn't doubt to see a defense start pinching more.
Now Quezada crashing across the blue line, but here to bring it in is Pats, the point leader for the Trojans, looking for that up close near post goal. And Carew doing a good job of hugging his best friend in red and not letting anything sneak in between them. 1:20 left on the minor penalty. But even just taking a look at the Trojans bench, you're starting to see a few more Trojans sitting down in between their shifts.
Yeah, they weren't doing that earlier today. You can't blame them. I mean, they are shorthanded. So Eastern's done a nice job of just slowly wearing them down.
Now kicked away by Carew. Now pushed back up by Quezada. Wells having to battle for that puck over there.
Well, you can see the way USC's play. They're not going to quit. They're going to keep putting pressure.
And Carew taken
have a
down.
problem in front of the net.
Players all over the top of the netminder. As it's Pats there being shoved out of the crease by Carew. He's the one that fell all over the top of Carew just a moment ago. Probably placed there by Ryan Carew. Chow takes a shot, gets a lot of ice on that one, breaks his twig. He's going to have to head back to the bench. Bouncing puck out front. Carew doing a good job of covering that one up. He saw where they were trying to go with it and broke up that pass. It's one of those stats that never shows up on the score sheet, but a netminder that can read that pass and break that up coming across is worth their weight in gold.
Well, it takes the pressure off your D-men too, so they know your netminder is going to do that, and he's very effective at it. So that really helps how the defense will want to set up. One thing I have noticed what USC's doing, especially on this power play, now they are trying to get more traffic in front of Crew, see if that can disrupt them. They didn't do that earlier, but this penalty right now, they've had a guy right in front of that net the whole time.
Some quick feet by Noah Loren. And the Trojans still trying to build out of their own end. Flood giving them fits. And now Toulouche, he's got it up ahead to Loren. Now back to the stick of Pats. It's going to go to the far side. Thompson thinks about lining up the hit, and instead he leaves that for Eriks. Now it's going to go to the far side again. Delayed penalty coming against the Eagles just as they leave the box. It's going to be a cross check. And we'll see against who.
They're trying hard to get the Trojans back into this game by taking back-to-back penalties right now. Thompson's going in.
It's 11:44.
But this is Achilles heel for Eastern with the penalties, and they're starting to add up a little bit more. It's only a matter of time before Chow gets unleashed again.
The USC 20% on the power play tonight, 1 for 5, with an opportunity to make it 2 for 6 here in the next 2 minutes. Into the midsection of Carew, and he wasn't sure where it went. Actually ended up in between his stick and his leg pads. But how about that positioning from the big man? Still moving into position, even though he had the puck.
Yeah, it was a good trip. But again, I was just marveling, actually, to be honest with you, how Chow moved. He stayed stationary, and then he saw his defensive partner pick it up, and he just slowly shot over to his left, got a wide open one-timer, and he has one hard shot.
You see Chansey way out of his net into the corner. Now waiting behind the goal is Akili Tolada. Akili Toulouche with it along the low wall. He's rubbed off of the puck by Lusk, but picked up by his teammate Quezada.
Toulouche has a strong game tonight for the Trojans. He's played well.
And there is Chow with it again. Deloach waiting on defense. And they're going to say that was offside. And it looks like USC going to take a timeout with 7:28 left to play in this third period. Waiting in the box for the Eagles is Sam Thompson. He's got 1:13 left on his minor penalty for cross-checking. USC going to try and draw something up here and see if they can cut into this deficit.
The coach is pretty adamant for USC, so I'm not sure if they're not doing what he wants them to do, but he's animated. Let's leave it at that. Now, tomorrow's lineup, Tyler, who's the first come out? Is it San Jose?
It'll be San Jose and WSU at 3 o'clock here. The WSU looking to right the ship. San Jose continuing their plowing through of the Pac-8 so far this year, at least the Washington teams. And then we'll be back 7 o'clock right here. These same two teams.
I would have loved to have seen the Eagles play San Jose this time around, see how big a difference from when they first played earlier this year until now, because Eastern's a whole different squad.
Puck taken by the Eagles as Young going to send it into the neutral zone. Hofacker giving chase. Now Chow with it. He's going to try and take on 3 Eagles, and he does. Bouncing puck deflected into the corner halfway through the Sam Thompson minor penalty. Here comes Chansey again. He's going to leave it off for Toulouche. He's almost mugged there by Hofacker.
No, he was. He wasn't not an almost. The tank, he plays that hard style. He's going to knock you down if you're in the way.
And that's icing with 37 seconds left. The Eagles will get a break as the puck heads back down towards Heath Chansey, a right-handed netminder from Tampa, Florida for the USC Trojans. Seems like a guy that doesn't enjoy the cold, Gary. Tampa, Florida to Los Angeles, California. That man is not one for the snow, I would guess.
So what sports you pick up? Hockey. So
I mean, really, coming from those places might just be a way to keep cool.
All I know, the kid's been very impressive tonight. He really has.
It's Chow against Hofacker in the face-off circle. Puck down, battling along the boards. And Toulouche has it, tries to feed it ahead. Some good one-touch passing by the Trojans, trying to build out of their end, stretch out Eastern Washington as they're doing it. Chow with it, onto the far side, kicked away by Carew, pushed back towards the net by Loran. Out front, kick to the corner, Quezada's shot. Now Hofacker, he's got Belair joining him off of the bench. He's got Stevenson in the center, and making a standing save was Heath Chansey, his 33rd save of the night.
Well, we talked about Chow. He'll shoot from anywhere, even that last shot he took, which was a rocket. It was a weird angle, but he is not afraid to take a shot. And you can tell by his skill level, I can see why. You've got to keep an eye on him.
Belair now back behind Eastern Washington, or behind the USC net. Sends it down the wall to Hood. It's going to go past Hood. And now Best having to battle off Hughes on the far side. Hughes a few inches on Hofacker. Now Belair trying to take it towards the goal mouth. Delayed penalty coming. Belair, not the one to draw at that time, but almost drew another one there. He's back with the puck. He's going to play it off to Tierney. Tierney into the legs of a USC player. Lusk has it, trying to feed it back to Hood. Hood now has it knocked into the neutral zone, and then they'll blow that dead. We'll see who it is that gets sent to the box here.
Looks like Mr. Hughes went in the
And
box.
it looks like Lusk is going to take a penalty as well, so no power play coming.
That was a second. That was almost after the fact. I think they got him for a slash. He was unhappy about something.
They'll say 4-on-4. And actually, they're going to give double minor to Hughes. I think he's the one that put Belair into the boards behind the net. So as I was saying, Belair hasn't drawn his customary penalty. There it is. So it's 4-on-3.
That is such an effective
Actually,
technique.
they'll say 4-on-4 for the first 2 minutes, and then it'll be a 5-on-4. But again, Waylon Belair weaseling his way into the center of all of the action and drawing a penalty from it. We might have to go back and look, Gary, but I think that might be 4 or 5 games in a row for Mr. Belair.
Absolutely no question. I would say he's leaning on 5. I mean, it just seems like every game he does it.
Thompson, one-touch pass, Frank Flood with the Texas hat trick.
Unbelievable. Flood just basically used that defenseman as his own decoy, and he just right toward the very end, nice little pass over by Thompson, and Flood was right there, and he knew he was going to do a tip in. Again, that's that anticipatory style we were talking about in the first period. They're picking that up more and more, and that's a prime example of it. 4 goals, Mr. Flood. You've had a heck of a night. We got to call that an Eags hat trick because that's 2 games in a row that's happened.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I think this is what makes Eastern so dangerous long term. You start looking at how they're scoring. It's not like it has been in the past when a guy like Reed Kaiser is leading the country in points. No, Eastern's got 4 guys over 20 points. They've had 2 players score 4 goals in a game. They've had 4 players score 2 goals in a game. Frank Flood's there looking for another one. He is just not going to give up tonight.
He wants that 5th one. He got that from behind the net and tried to stuff it in there. But you're right. When I see this Eastern's team compared to the previous ones, they're getting more of the dirty, greasy, gritty, I call them, and that's an all compliments on those words. They're getting the hard goals. They're flood the net more. And you don't see that last year you had Hunt and Kaiser doing it. This year, no, they're getting the difficult goals. They're getting in there, getting banged on, but that's the style they're playing this year.
This year, Eastern's 20-point scorers so far, Joel Lusk, Isaac Hood, Sam Thompson, and now Frank Flood with his 21st point of the season on that last goal.
And as weird as this might sound, I'm wondering if Flood isn't rubbing off on people. You're seeing more players going in front of that net where they're getting banged on, but they're in there battling, and that's because Flood's been doing it for the last 4 or 5 games.
And Hood with a no-look between the legs pass out front, and we talk about the netminders breaking up those passes, and Chansey did it. Jake Best was right there, and Chansey wasn't even going to give him the opportunity.
No, because Best would have buried it. If it would have got by Chance, he had a wide open net.
It actually turned out that Joel Lusk penalty, maybe not the worst thing in the world, because as the Eagles scored, neither one of the minor penalties from the Trojans came off the board. So still 4-on-4 for the next 40 seconds, and then Eastern going to get a full 2-minute power play. So I think, like we mentioned, Gary, we're getting towards the point in the evening where USC just might not have enough, as there was Hood again had Jake Best on the back door. Now Hood's going to take it towards the goal mouth, look to go around the defenseman, and had the puck taken away. 15 seconds left on the 4-on-3.
Well, one thing with a short bench and you're down by 3 goals, fatigue, you start feeling it more right now. You know there's about 3.5 minutes left, and you start feeling the bumps and stuff that you didn't earlier because that scoreboard, you're thinking, man, I'm getting tired right now. So, but again, with such a short bench, you'd expect that. Eastern's done a nice job of capitalizing on it.
Lusk takes a shot. You heard the thunder into the glove of Chansey. It's Chansey's 38th save of the night. Don't let the score fool you, folks. If you're just joining us, Keith Chansey has stood on his head tonight, made some incredible saves. Eastern Washington is having to find some incredible ways to get past him. That one-touch goal by Frank Flood, a backhanded top shelf goal by Frank Flood, that tipped shot from Joel Lusk. When those 3 goals are really what have put Eastern ahead here. Carew now back up top to Wells. He's going to go to the far side. Bouncing puck out front. Looking to clean it up was Hofacker, and Stevenson throws his head back. He saw the puck, but the door was shut before he could get his stick to it. 1:23 left to play in this Friday night Eagles After Dark Pack 8 showcase matchup here.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tyler. You look at 6 goals for Eastern. There has not been a cheap goal. That's how good Jesse's played for the Trojans. He stood on his head for this squad tonight.
Here comes Flood again, and Chansey doing everything he can to keep that man out of the back of his net.
Yeah, there's nothing that the netminder you could say. No, he's played outstanding for the Trojans.
Into the glove of Chansey. 2:22 left on the scoreboard. Again, if you're in town, stop on by tomorrow at 3 o'clock as the Cougars and the Spartans face off on this very same sheet of ice. And then we'll join you at 7 o'clock as the Eagles and Trojans do battle again in this Pack 8 showcase. Just a reminder, the Pack 8 Conference Championship Tournament heading to Cheney again this year. Keep an eye on the team and the league's social media for tickets and schedules as we get closer. If you're a sponsor out there and you'd like to be a part of the Pack 8 Championship Showcase, visit EWEaglesHockey.com. Flood knocked over away from the puck, and they're going to call that an offside. But 8 of the 9 teams in the league this year will make their way to Cheney in early February, with the winner of that tournament heading to the Western Regional. No word on where that's at yet. The first rankings for Division II ACHA came out today. Eastern not in the top 20 in the West. Full rankings expected to be released tomorrow, so we'll have an update on where these 2 teams shake out in the Western region. Casey Young going to carry it down the ice, takes that shot, sends it into the corner. Laughlin now. He's got it up top to Carew. Carew sends it back behind the net to Best. Jake Best backhands it over to the far side. There to pick it up is Quezada. And that's going to go all the way back to Carew. Less than 90 seconds left in our Eags After Dark Friday night matchup. It was glow stick giveaway night here, thanks to the Eagles Hockey Booster Club. You can learn more about them at Eagles Hockey Boosters on Facebook, Instagram, or eagleshockeyboosters.com. Big hit as he got rid of the puck.
Mr.
Jake Best
going
on
in.
Quezada. It'll be interesting to see what they call here because Best was kind of finishing his hit. So we'll see if it was an interference. It was. I thought maybe they saw something wrong with his hit. So Eastern going to finish this one down a man. This is their 8th penalty of the night, coming at 19:10 of this period. It'll be Best for an interference.
You were talking about the Pac 8 tournament. If anyone out there, if you haven't been to one of them, you got to show up this year. It is some extremely intense hockey throughout the whole thing. And it's just an outstanding tournament. I highly recommend you attend in person.
When we talk about Frank Flood, now here's an opportunity for the Eagles as Hofacker on the far side. He's got Stevenson in the middle, has to shield the puck, and is knocked off of it. But we talk about Frank Flood in the Pac 8 tournament. Frank Flood scored the game winner, I believe it was, last year. Or I guess it was the tying goal last year against Cal to keep Eastern Washington in the tournament. So lots of excitement here in Cheney. It's something you're not going to want to miss. There'll be hotel specials, season pass or weekend pass specials, and more information coming your way over the next couple of months. So Eastern Washington going to take a 6-3 victory over USC, extending their winning streak to 6 games. And Hofacker taking that shot at the last moment. And I think he got that one off before the buzzer, but Chansey, not quite so sure about that. The Eagles with goals scored by Isaac Hood, 4 from Frank Flood, and 1 from Joel Lusk. 4 players now for the Eagles, over 20 points on the season. We'll be back tomorrow night with these two teams battling it out again in the Pac-8 Showcase. Eastern Washington 6, USC 3 for our camera gal Harper, for our graphics gal Kayla, for Gary Allen and everybody here at Eastern Washington University Men's Hockey. I'm Tyler Pisani saying good night, go Eags, and we'll see you at the Barrel House.